Good morning, lawn lovers. BW here. It's September 19th today, and it's time to apply my fall fertilizer. In my last video, you saw me apply my fall pre-emergent with fertilizer. I applied that on August 9th, so that was about 6 weeks ago, and the lawn is still looking good after that application. I'm a little surprised by that, because the amount of fertilizer in that product is less than a typical dose of fertilizer. In my experience, that same product doesn't seem to last quite as long when I use it in the spring. Maybe the lawn is more nitrogen deficient in the spring after a long winter, or maybe it uses it up faster during that time of year. Last year, I settled on the twice-a-year fertilizer plan Greenview recommends with their products. For me, that was really a 3 times a year plan, because I included the spring pre-emergent with fertilizer. That plan worked well for me, but considering how well my August application is working, I may fall in love with this new plan with spring and fall pre-emergent applications. It really seems to be holding back the fall weeds I usually see this time of year after the spring application wears off. I'll know more about that later in the fall season. Early to mid-September is a time of year for me to make my fall fertilizer application. It's when the heat of summer gives way to the cooler temperatures of fall. According to almost every expert, fall is the most important time of year to fertilize your cool season lawn. According to the Penn State Extension office, it promotes recovery from drought and heat-related injuries sustained during the summer. Late summer to early fall is also the time of year that cool season grasses begin to manufacture and store carbohydrates used by turf grasses for root and rhizome growth, disease and stress tolerance, and protection from winter injury. I'm using an enhanced efficiency fall fertilizer made by Greenview. Most fall fertilizers contain more potassium than fertilizers used at other times of the year. This fertilizer contains 12% potassium by weight, as indicated by the third number in the NPK ratio on the bottom left side of the bag. This time of year, a little potassium can help your lawn recover from summer stress and prepare the lawn for coming winter stresses. I like to weigh the fertilizer for each small section of my lawn. Not only does it enable me to apply the correct amount of product, but it also helps me to adjust my spreader perfectly for my much larger back lawn. This fertilizer has a large prill, or particle size. I'll spread it in 2 passes to ensure even coverage. So I'll begin by setting my spreader at 2/3 of the recommended setting, and adjust it after the first pass if necessary. The bag says to use a spreader setting of 15 for my spreader, so I started with the spreader set to 10. After I've done the small front and side yards, I'll have the spreader adjusted perfectly to cover the much larger backyard. This fertilizer can last up to 12 weeks and doesn't make my grass grow so fast that I need to mow it any more often. Methylene Urea, the type of nitrogen used in this formula, also gives my lawn a nice dark green color. Methylene Urea is a slow-release form of nitrogen. A card from Greenview says that I can safely apply up to 1.35 pounds of nitrogen in this fertilizer per 1,000 square feet. Applying at this rate will eliminate the need for me to use any more fertilizer later in the fall. The maximum amount of traditional fertilizer per application is just 1 pound or less per 1,000 square feet. The grass will use the extra nitrogen to store nutrients and carbohydrates in the roots of the lawn over the winter, and use it for new growth in the spring. Now get out there and have some fun on your lawn, and remember, you can do it.